Can we create a robotic camera person using just a DJI Neo and do walk and talk videos? There's an airport about 5 miles that way. That is a biplane that just flew over us, which is very cool. All right. My name is David Gewirtz. Welcome back to Advanced Geekery. We are going to do something different today. We are going to try to take this pocket size, and I mean pocket size drone, the DJI Neo, and turn it into a walk and talk video camera where it does dolly shots. As I walk forwards, it films backwards. So we're going to see if that works. Now, I will tell you that there have been a couple of glitches in the video you're about to see where like the sound doesn't quite start right when it's supposed to. But this is an experiment. I haven't done this before. So we're going to do this together and see how it turns out. That's it. Let me put it back in my pocket because I want you to just catch on to how cool it is seeing it in my pocket. That's it. Goes right in my pocket. Oh, I want to show you one more thing. I want to show you how cool it is to take off and land because this is very, very interesting and very cool. Now, I'm going to do it with the camera cover on just because I just want to show it to you now. And I'm going to put this thing in DirectionTrack mode. All right. And there's another plane flying over, so we'll wait for that for a sec. All right. So all you do is you hold the button out and hold it up. And there you go. It takes off. I'm going to walk this way and see if it'll come along. There we go. All right. Now watch. I'm just going to put my hand under it. And it just lands. Now that's cool. Okay. Let's continue with the actual walk and talk test and see how that turns out. This program is sponsored in part by the Advanced Geekery Weekly newsletter. Want exclusive access to my latest ZDNet articles, behind-the-scenes updates on my projects, and must-watch YouTube videos curated just for you? How about fascinating reads from around the web and a chance to have your own project spotlighted? It's all in the newsletter. And the best part, subscribing is absolutely free. Don't wait. Click the link below to get your weekly issue and make it awesome. How the DJI Neo does as a camera robot as I walk through this nice little park. The idea here is to see whether or not it can act basically as a cameraman or camera person tracking me during a walk and talk. So that's what we're going to try doing. My name is David Gewirtz. Welcome back to Advanced Geekery. Today we are in the Inspiration Garden in Central Oregon, and we are testing out the DJI Neo to see how it does as a robotic camera person. This is my second flight with the DJI Neo. I have done this once before, and unfortunately that time it ran out of juice after 4 minutes. It was a brand new device, and DJI has asked me to send the battery back for testing. So, hello.
Well, I thought that was a bird at first.
No, it's actually, come back. Come on back. Come on.
So where are you controlling that?
It is doing it all automatically. It is an AI. So walking through the park with the drone is apparently people are curious about it. Wasn't exactly what I expected, but it was fun. I got a chance to talk to somebody about the drone, and we're continuing to walk down. Basically, what I was saying was that the first drone, not the first drone, but the battery that came with the drone when I bought it died after 4 minutes. And according to DJI, this thing should last 10, 15 minutes, something like that. So that's what basically this is a test to see, does it get stuck in the trees? Can you hear me? Does the DJI Fly app remove the drone sound? Because I hear the drone sound like relatively intensely. So it has to do some kind of noise, removal to be able to handle that. And, you know, right now it seems to be doing fairly well tracking. I mean, we'll see what happens at the end. The drone is bouncing around a bit. There's a bit of wind. And what I expect I will probably do is, it's all going to go into edit. So I'm going to put it in Final Cut. And I'll be able to do some image stabilization and maybe tracking to see if I can reduce the issues of bouncing with the drone. But, you know, we'll see how it turns out. Right now, my big concern as I walk with this thing is whether this is going to go down the hill. Because as you can see behind me, there's a hill with a sort of river thing. And my hope is that the drone does not decide to go rogue and go down the hill. But so far, we're doing pretty well. I'm going to take it to the first major turn up there. And then I'll turn around and talk back and see where we go. So the idea here is this walk and talk. And what I'd like to be able to do is, you know, come out here, talk to you folks about whatever sort of subject, kind of vlog-like, and have a nice environment and, you know, not stand here with my phone, but be able to just kind of walk and take a stroll, which is what I'm doing. Take a nice little stroll, see how it does, and then publish it once every so often for you folks to watch or listen to, the ones of you that are patient enough to put up with just a rambling discussion as opposed to, you know, hands-on DIY stuff, which you've seen a lot of me do. But right now, I'm fairly impressed. Now, there aren't any tight curves so far. I tried this on my sidewalk the first time, and turning a corner, it completely lost the, it lost what it was doing when it was turning a corner. So that was kind of interesting. And it's also kind of interesting because, you know, the whole walking and chewing gum at the same time thing. I am walking, I am paying attention to the drone, and I'm trying to be vaguely interesting to you folks. And that's a lot harder than I would have thought it was. But here we go. You know, every so often there's people around and they're looking at me like I'm crazy. And I know you folks have been watching me for years, and so some of you think I am crazy, and I probably am. But this is a sort of fascinating way to go. It's just taking a walk. It's beautiful out here. I mean, that's the other thing, is this gives me an excuse during the workday to go outside and take a walk, as opposed to having to just, you know, stay in the office and write, or stay in the workshop cave, which has no windows and no external light. Here I am, I'm getting actual sun. And yes, I'm a programmer, and it's daylight, and I'm getting sun, and I have not burst into flame yet, although, to be honest, I kind of figured I would. But hey, you know, it's interesting. So as I'm walking here, I'm coming up to a clearing, and what I'm going to do when I get to the clearing is I'm going to retrieve the drone, and I'm going to send it on one of its shooting up in the air things to see how it does. And then I'll talk to you as I walk back to the entrance of the park and see how that turns out. But so far, I mean, you're along for the ride. I mean, this is probably not the most interesting thing in the world, but so far this has been kind of fun. And of course, the discussion with the gentleman was quite pleasant. All right, so I'm in the middle of a center area here, and I'm going to stop, and I think the drone is going to come back to me. There it comes. I'm going to stick my hand out, and it should land. Are supposed to just track me where I go and stay in pretty much the same spot. So I'm standing over here. This is a big sort of Quonset hut-like thing where they have all sorts of very pretty plants and flowers that they're working on, which is kind of cool. So interesting side effect is I have my phone in my pocket, and it wouldn't take off because when I put the phone back in my pocket, there was a bit of a problem with not being on the right screen, so it wouldn't take off. So as you can see, the drone is staying in one spot. Actually, let's point it over this way because this is pretty. So the drone is essentially staying in one spot while I'm giving you a bit of a tour of the area. In this case, I'm walking down over here and pointing this way. Now, I think I'm going to come back and do a follow and let it follow me over here so that you can kind of see it over my shoulder and see how that works out. And then after that, we'll walk home. And I'm just going to walk this way and just show you this little building area and this little plant area. And you can just come along because it's nicer that way. So you should be able to see over my shoulder just another planting area over here. And then as we come down this way, hopefully you're not going to crash into anything. We've got a nice little community garden. Now, I am not a gardener, so I'm not going to do anything here, but it is kind of cool. All right, come back. All right, I'm going to walk to you. How's that? So clearly this battery is lasting longer than the previous battery because I could just barely make it down the sidewalk near my house before the battery died. So this is clearly lasting longer. Now I haven't timed exactly how long it lasted. I did look at my watch, but then there was the interruption where I was talking to that gentleman. So I'm not exactly sure how much time I've taken off, but still, you've seen a couple things. You saw the spotlight mode, which was kind of cool. And you saw the, I think it's called the rocket mode, where it shoots straight up and comes on down. And I haven't seen the footage of that, so I'm hoping that was kind of cool. Now we're doing another walk and talk. And this is really what like I said, this is what I wanted this drone for, is to be able to come out here or to any other nice area in beautiful Oregon during the beautiful Oregon weather when we have beautiful Oregon weather, and talk to you about stuff. And you know, whether that's about what's been going on in the workshop or whether that's about AI or answering some of your questions, because I regularly get questions and I haven't had a really good format to be able to just sit and talk and answer questions. This might be a pretty cool way to do it, is to just do a walk and talk with some question answering. So, you know, let me know what you think. I'm guessing that some of you will be bored to death with this, and some of you might find it fun. That's always interesting depending on, you know, who's watching and what the kind of content is. And what I do in Advanced Geekery is experiment and see how things go. Right now there is a little kid about 20 yards away who is deeply fascinated with the drone. And I'm going to stop about 10 yards away, collect the drone, and make sure it's not flying so it doesn't hurt the kid. So I'm going to stop right about here. Come on. Come on. Come back. Come on. I am out of child range. You may be able to see the kid behind me, but I think I'm out of child range. And that's an interesting side effect about being in a public space is, you know, suddenly turning off the drone. This one didn't want to shut off as quickly as I wanted it to when I got close to the kid. It actually went up for some reason instead of landing on my hand. But I will get to know this and, you know, learn what it does. But obviously what I want to do is be very careful, both for my safety and for the safety of other people around. I mean, this thing is floating, you know, I don't even know if this is cutting off my head because it's floating at about chest height. I would prefer it was higher, and there is a mode to set it higher, but I'm just doing this first recording as it is. And, you know, if it's terrible at chest height and you don't see my head, well, then I probably won't publish it. But if you can see most of it, then I'll share with you. But, you know, it's floating at chest height, so I don't have to worry about aircraft or anything. I just have to be aware of what's around me. And it's kind of interesting because it's just doing its thing. I'm walking down the path. The path had a light curve, and it seemed to be okay. I mean, I was a little concerned because of the bushes earlier. And in my first test, it crashed into a fence that was on the side of the sidewalk. So one thing that I will say is the protected propellers did protect the propellers, because when it crashed. All right, well, that was the end of the first battery. It's definitely not 4 minutes, but it's certainly not 20 minutes either. I will try to calculate how much that battery is and put it up on the screen when I get back, but it's not 4 minutes, so it's kind of worthwhile. I'm using the second battery here just to sort of bring this thing to a close because I wanted to make it back through the second curve and see how this thing worked. And I wanted to talk to you about kind of my impressions because, you know, it's a little bit disconcerting to do this with people around, but it's also kind of nice. I mean, I'm not as bored as I am when I take a normal walk. I'm also, you know, being a geek. I'm the guy in the park who is walking with a drone 5 feet in front of me. So there's that. But still, it's kind of fun. And we are just about at the entrance to this part of the park. So I think what I'm going to do is tell you that my name is David Gewirtz, and for Advanced Geekery, go out there and fly something awesome. And maybe land safely. Come on, drone. Having a little bit of an issue getting the drone to come back. So this is the second time I've had a little bit of an issue getting the drone to come back. It's tracking me. All right, let's see if it'll come along with me. Because right now it's over the bushes. Come on. No, it still wants the direction track. Let's try this. It did not do this the other day.